Good afternoon. I almost said good morning. Good afternoon. We'll give it a minute. I've got to share on TikTok here. Hello, hello. How are you? How's your Thursday going? Hello, Queen. Just sharing it out. So just give me a second. Good evening. How are things in your world? I went to South Africa once. I traveled there back a few years ago now, probably, oh gosh, a few years ago indeed. I'm like, it's probably maybe 10 years ago. Yeah, probably around 10 years ago now. I went to Johannesburg. So how are things in South Africa for you? Hi, Gerardo. Oh, wow. It's very warm here. It's beautiful here, actually. We're having perfect weather. Perfect weather. Hello, Leslie. Hello, hello. They need to have the way to share it out to people on YouTube. My brain just like glitched there. You might have seen it. I kind of went to trying to remember the information that I was going to say. Look at that. So today we're going to be talking about the sword and the song. Right? I like summer dress. It's summertime. Just having fun. So do share if you can, or if you have someone to share to, and definitely hit the likes, because it's the way that the algorithm works. This isn't me. I wouldn't make you perform like that. I would just let you be and learn and have fun. But that's the algorithm. It demands the likes or the gifts or the engagement in order for the social media to promote it. And I could really use your help in promoting my message out there. I focused on ascension and helping guide you on your way. Yep. Yeah, I'm very aware that because I speak the truth, that the algorithm tries to silence me because they don't want the truth. They don't necessarily want the truth getting out, but we're going to fix that. We're going to fight the algorithm and win. We're just going to win against the algorithm. So yeah. Yeah, there are some people, but I've already dismantled that individual's ability to do anything. So at least on me. I am sovereign. So yeah, so today we're going to be talking about the sword and the song. And again, we always do like a bunch of kind of education stuff here. I know that for the most part, I think people definitely are scrolling more for fun than for, doing some real stuff. But I'm glad of those of you that are here and ingesting the content or are, participating and learning. Good for you. Good for you. You guys are the ones that are ahead of the pack. Right? So there comes a moment, and oh, that little thing's so cute. There comes a moment in every soul's journey when silence becomes a cage and the voice becomes the key. This episode is that moment. As the moon moves from the deep waters of Scorpio into the visionary flame of Sagittarius, and then we'll be moving into Capricorn, full moon in 2 days. I was like about to say tomorrow, hence the in 2 days. We have the full moon on Saturday the 9th in Capricorn, and that's true Capricorn. That's not based on tropical, but on true sidereal. And I'll go over a little bit of cosmic context for today as well. So as the moon moves from Scorpio into Sagittarius, it goes from into that visionary energy that Sagittarius has. So we're invited to rise from that shadowed interception. And I think a lot of us have been very introspective and having a lot of emotions come up lately. Some of us feeling just kind of meh, maybe a little bit like drained energetically. So we definitely may feel better coming out of that Scorpio energy into Sagittarius. But we do not rise as we once did, shouting to be heard or cutting to be right. We rise differently now. We rise with reverence, we rise with precision, and we rise with the song that remembers. The voice is not just a sound, it is a sacred tool of creation, truth, and transformation. So when forged in clarity and guided by the Oversoul, it becomes a temple of remembrance, a sword of discernment, and a song that reshapes reality. Let this be your return to that power. Okay. Hi, Joseph. Hello, guys. Say hi, hang out. So the cosmic context, the moon moves from Scorpio into Sagittarius. It actually did so yesterday, but I did the notes beforehand, so I kind of checked the energy then. If I look at my favorite site to see, just give me 1 second, and we'll see exactly where the moon is at this moment. Yep, the moon is in Sagittarius, and it'll be in Capricorn tomorrow. Hi, Amanda. Hi, Jackie. So the moon moves from Scorpio into Sagittarius. The intensity of soul excavation now transitions into vision and reclamation. What you faced in the shadows is now given a voice, purpose, and precision. TT, thanks, Nicole. So Mercury is in Leo, and what that is giving us is communication is bold, expressive, and transformative. This influence amplifies the need for heart-led truth, but cautions against performance over authenticity. Mars is squaring Saturn, which this means we may have the urge to act, or the urge to act may feel restricted. This is not to hinder you. It is to refine your actions with discipline and integrity. So we're just being more thoughtful about our actions. We're taking more time to just really become clear and really connect to that energy. Venus is trining Chiron. So there is a tender opportunity for healing, how we receive and offer love, especially through the spoken word. And then Pluto is still in Capricorn, and that means that power structures are being dismantled. Do you continue silencing your truth, or do you forge a new way of speaking? Not to fight, but to forge, right? So we're trying to create, the voice is important. Speaking the truth is important, right? Like it's really, really important for us to do that. Hi, Deanna. Hi, Kita. I don't know if you stuck around, but I saw you pop in there briefly. Hello, Kita. So the moon moving from Scorpio into Sagittarius, like I said, this is a turning point. And it's really asking you, do you continue to silence your truth, or do you forge a new way of speaking? So it's a really important question to ask yourself. So our core transmission, we're going to talk about the sword as a symbol of sacred precision. And we'll continue on from that. I'm just going to have a sip of tea while it's hot. What's everybody up to? How are things going in your world? What are you seeking? What are you seeking on TikTok? TT. Yeah, I mixed a rooibos and as well as a chai blend to just give it a little bit different of a flavor today. So the sword is a symbol of sacred precision. The sword is not a weapon or of war in this path. It is a scalpel of discernment, a blade of illumination. It does not swing wildly to harm, but is drawn gently with clear purpose. It does. Your truth, when forged in silence and stillness, becomes a sacred force that cuts through deception, illusion, and distortion. This teaching reminds us to refine our clarity, not as a tool of attack, but as a torch of revelation. Let the sword be silent when needed and sharp when called. Okay, so we're using our words, we're using our language very purposefully, right? We're speaking to speak with that intention, with clarity, with power. Oh, yeah. We don't like going in circles. We're meant to spiral upwards, right? We're meant to continue to spiral in that, when you look at a conch shell, like not a conch shell, but I don't have an example of the thing that I'm looking for. But the spiral should be like a spiral staircase where you keep ascending, right? When we start to find ourselves looping and circling around in the same, that's when we have to ask ourselves, what is the loop that we're in and why are we in it? What have we not seen, or what are we not being honest with ourselves about? Hi, Xandrian. What are we not being honest with ourselves? Because a lot of times it's us lying to ourselves. We know the truth. Like we'll feel out of alignment or out of sync with things. I know it's been so long. Hi, love. How are you? Hi, Miss M. Right. But I lost my train of thought. When we're spiraling, we know what it is, right? Like I knew in my relationship that I wasn't happy, right? And I might sit there and in my previous relationship, I might have tried to polish a turd, is what it's called. I tried to really, really polish that turd and make it the best thing, or yeah, our relationship wasn't that bad, or if only, and stuff like that, right? But we know the truth. It's just often we're lying to ourselves, right? We just tell ourselves all these things because it's easier to stay in the comfort zone than it is to change. Although I disagree. I think that it's better to change. That's beautiful. Me too. I actually host events throughout the month doing grid work. So that's really awesome. That's so beautiful that you're stepping in and you're doing the grid work. That's amazing. I saw your new song come out too. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. So yeah, we want to be refining. Perfect. I'm doing a big water thing on the 25th of August of this year, and I'll keep talking about that stuff as we go. And I do have a book that I wrote called The Voice That Remembers the Earth, and it's really a love letter. It's poetic, and it's got activations and like practices that you can do as well. Like it's a very beautiful book that's available on Amazon and on my website as well. Oh, nice. Oh, I love Lake Superior. I love Lake Superior. Which spot? Oh, that's so nice. So nice. Yeah, I might have to swing by the lake this weekend on Saturday as well. Very, very nice. Very nice. Yeah, I've stopped at Thunder Base. I drive through Thunder Base so many times and stopped there. Every single time I had to stop at the Terry Fox Monument. So I'll go to Lake Ontario and I'll think of you at Lake Superior, and I'll do my little bit of a full moon ceremony there. And you could do yours there, and it'll just be beautiful. Oh yeah, lots of little frat parties are terrible like that. Oh, nice. Nice. Do share. You know my links. You know how. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So the voice is the carrier of divine geometry. Your voice is not just a sound, it's a structure of resonance, an architect of worlds. If you speak from alignment, your voice encodes harmony into the grid. Every tone, every word and phrase you emit carries a signature frequency. And when you're in alignment, that frequency is so potent. So if you speak from distortion, you replicate chaos. When you speak from alignment, you create clarity. Okay. Your divine geometry lives in rhythm, pitch, and cadence. This is why your oversoul speaks not just in messages, but in music, in vibration, and in tone. You are invited to remember your voice as a divine tool of planetary architecture in doing things like grid work. Right? So clarity without kindness is violence in disguise. When you speak this, you can speak the truth and still create harm. When truth is wielded without love, it becomes domination disguised as clarity. Now I'm going to talk very briefly about, we know the files that everybody's anxious for everybody to release. The problem with releasing some information too soon, and I mean, anyone that's following me knows that I have talked about some pretty big things that are not what people would consider mainstream. I like to talk about the truth of the truth of the truth and who we are, what we are here for, like our actual divine makeup. So when we look at, when we release things too quickly, people can't handle it. Their psyche can't handle it. The cognitive distortion that occurs can actually fracture their psyche. So the whole reason why it has to be slowly unveiled for people is so that they can get to the point where they can accept the information that they're about to receive. Right? So we want to be looking at the things that we're speaking. What are we putting out into the world, right? If I'm talking about hate, and if I'm talking about division, and I'm talking about chaos, and I'm talking about all of those things, that's the energy that I'm putting out into the world. That's the energy that I'm allowing to be created through me, right? Is more chaos, more confusion, more destruction, more, hate and stuff like that. So even when we're speaking the truth, we have to be speaking it with kindness attached to it, because I really truly believe when we're just speaking the truth without that element of kindness, it can still be violence, right? So we want to make sure that we are using truth packaged with love, because otherwise it's just domination disguised as clarity. Right? In this new paradigm, we do not weaponize awareness, right? We infuse it with compassion. Hi, Hood Huru. We infuse it with compassion, right? This teaching asks, what is your motive when you speak the truth, right? What is your motive when you're speaking the truth? Are you speaking the truth just to be right? Are you speaking the truth for shock and awe? Are you speaking the truth in that like domination kind of way? Or are you speaking it for the purpose of liberation, right? So if it is to feel superior, then you are still bound to distortion, no matter whether you're speaking the truth or not. The very intention behind the reason why you're speaking is absolutely important, because that's the voice, that's the tone, that's the resonance that your voice is creating in the world. So if you are liberating people and awakening and gently illuminating, then you are walking the path of the Christ, right? High spiritual love. Hopefully you get out soon, but I mean, you are 3 hours behind me. Right? You want to be speaking from truth, but with kindness. So speak as one who has burned in the fire and emerged with wisdom, not ash to throw. right? So we have to be doing it from a kind space. And I have to be aware of that. I have to censor myself in that way, because I do sometimes come in more like a gong, right? And you want to come in like a bell so that people can hear you and it doesn't fracture their psyche, right? And sometimes I forget that, I have to think about the audience that I'm speaking to. Yeah, I do that. I basically I wake you up with a tidal wave as opposed to a glass of water. And I have to be aware of that, because I'm not always talking to the same people with the same awareness and with the same frequency or vibration, right? Some people are very aware of what's going on in the world. They're very aware of the truths. And I did that with somebody the other day where I had, we've been talking for some time and in different arenas and stuff like that. And she's, aligned with some of my teachings. And so we were in a conversation and I started talking about some other stuff that I very much know as the truth. And this was stuff that she wasn't at that stage yet. So I had to stop the conversation and just be like, okay, that's enough eye-opening stuff for you at this point. Like, I don't think I should go on in this direction, because it would have just been too off-putting or disturbing or chaotic or hurtful, right? It can be hurtful even to hear that. So your voice can build worlds. Your throat is one of the most powerful creation centers in the human vessel. It is the gate through which divine instruction, remembrance, and manifestation emerge. You are creating reality with every sentence that you speak, consciously or unconsciously. And we've talked about that here before, right? We've talked about how powerful your words are. We've talked about how you are either consciously manifesting your life or you are unconsciously manifesting your life. And for years, I was unconsciously manifesting it. Every time I was woe is me, every time I was, in my head about relationships and stuff like that, all kinds of negative stuff, right? That stuff was just putting more of that energy into my life. Sorry, when the phone rang, it just kind of... So we're creating consciously or unconsciously. When you're a conscious creator, you start to think about the language that you're using and the words that you're speaking into your life, right? Yeah. Well, we definitely have helped a lot of people with their overthinking and with self-doubt, right? There's somewhere that got seeded in you, but that's not your truth, right? And sometimes our problem is that we don't like the stillness and we don't like the silence, because when we're sitting in the stillness and the silence, then we have those things come up. And for many of us, we had issues around, when it started to get quiet, we started to get prepared for some big thing to happen, right? Because maybe the silence before the dad got really mad, or, that eerie quiet that, happens when you live in a home that's chaotic and, abuse happens. Oftentimes there's the silence before the storm. And so when we go to silence, that silence sometimes feels very off-putting for us, because we're expecting now the other foot to drop, or, we're expecting something bad to happen to us. Even in nursing, I nursed for 20 years, and my nursing career, we were very much, don't say the Q word, right? We spoke about quiet as if it was a curse, because so we created that in our environment. We created the concept that if it was quiet, then that meant that something bad was about to happen, or the wheels were going to fall off the bus, or something chaotic was going to come in. But we seeded that through our collectiveness. My belief system that the quiet predated the negative or the chaos. And so did every other nurse that had that theory in them, right? Those what are they called? Old wives' tales and stuff like that. But those concepts that we hold on to, they create our cage. And that's what we were doing with that. So you are creating reality with every sentence you speak, consciously or unconsciously. So this isn't about oh my God, I can never say anything negative, because if I say, that's just going to, mess everything up. It's not about that. But if you're sitting there and you're going victim, 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 power, 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 victim, 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 your life is going to be victimized. Like you're going to live in an environment where it's victimized. If you're speaking from power and you're speaking from a sovereign space and you're speaking beautiful things into your life, and then something bad happens and you're like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? How am I going to make it through? Where's the money going to come from? Like, I don't know what I'm going to do here. And then you're like, wait a second, I'll figure it out. And you go back to, I'm sovereign, I'm this, I'm that, whatever it is, right? When you go back to that space, it's not like your whole life is going to run off the racks because you had that one moment where you went, oh my God, what am I going to do? Right? So it's recognizing that it's not every single, you should be cautious about what you're saying. But if you do say something, that's negative or not the best for your life or your circumstances, or it's not even necessarily the truth, it's not going to destroy your life in one sentence, right? It's just that collectively, it's the collective energy that you are experiencing that's going to have the most weight on what your life is doing. If you're constantly, I suck and life, whatever, and you're in that way, then things are probably going to show up pretty challenging for you because your overall theme is that your life sucks or that you suck. So then things are going to show up in that way. So we just have to be aware of what we're saying within our lives. So if your words are rooted in trauma, they replicate it. So you're just recreating more of that in there. If they're anchored in your oversoul or in your higher self, then they will birth Edenic temples or templates. So this teaching is a sacred call to reawaken the architect within, the one who builds words through language, blessings, decree, and tone. So speak as the builder of the new earth. And I talk about this all the time. Two, we have so much going on in the world, and because of the information age and the compute and the internet and social media, we have access to worldwide news like that. We constantly have information at our fingertips, and if we're not careful, we can, through the algorithm, have a feed that is very, very chaotic or very, very scary with a lot of fear mongering coming at us. Right. And if that's what we're ingesting, that's what we're watching, and then that's what we go and talk about, we're just creating more of that in the world and in our particular lives. Right. So we need to be doing more social media cleanses. It's one thing to be aware of the information or aware of what's going on around us than to participate in it with your energy and giving it, your emotions and then your thoughts and then speaking it out loud. So every time that something happens and you call up a friend and you and the friend are saying, can you believe what happened? I can't believe that, blah, 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 blah. We're just seeding more of that. We're saying we want more of that because we're speaking about it. We're speaking about it. We're putting the energy into it. So we obviously want more of it because otherwise, why would we be talking about it? So we have to be aware of what we're doing when we're speaking, right? So let's speak about the things that we want. Let's speak about the way that we should be living. Let's speak about the things that we want to see in the world. And then let's create them because that's the next part of it, right? You need to work on your belief system because your belief system creates the cage that you live in. You have to work on your thoughts. You have to work on your emotions because your thoughts and emotions tend to go together. If you're thinking, I suck, then your emotions are probably going to be kind of low. Could be feeling sad, could be feeling depressed, could be feeling fearful. Like all of those feelings are going to put more of that energy out there so that you can continue to feel that way. So we want to be feeling the way that we would be feeling if we were in the new earth. So how would you feel? You would feel free. You would feel light. You would feel balanced. You would feel grounded. You would feel happy. You would feel, like all of these other more positive energies, right? All right, so I've got some questions, some common questions on the topic that can kind of help to help you in integrating the information that I'm talking about. So how do I know if my truth is distorted or pure? So when your truth is trying to control the information, control the situation, then that is distorted. When it liberates, it reveals and it restores. So it carries that purity. So ask yourself, is this truth seated in fear or love? Does it make me feel more aligned or more defensive? And because true clarity is, it humbles and it liberates. What if people don't receive my truth well? Well, you're not here to be understood by everyone. You're here to honor your alignment. So speak with integrity and release expectation. When we speak the truth and people leave our field, that's a beautiful thing to happen, as much as it can be something that you may have to grieve. And trust me, I know, especially this year, I have spoke so much truth this year. I've lost so many people in my realm. Like, I've had to recreate my entire social media following, because most of the people that were following me from a different time, a time when I was over generous. I was working through martyrdom stuff. And, I just figured, I knew what I was doing was powerful and valuable. And I just figured if I gave enough, people would understand my value, and then they would want to purchase the things that I was selling. And what it did was it aligned me with people that were realistically looking for free handouts. They just wanted whatever they could get for free. And I gave and gave and gave. And I've talked about this before. I used to go live for 5 days a week for 3 hours, and I would give a reading every single day. And every day you could show up for another reading and another reading, and you'd get full readings. And then I wondered why people weren't purchasing anything. Well, nobody's going to buy something if you're giving it all away for free. Right. And so anyway, that was something that I had to work through. And in working through that, it's caused a complete change in the audience that I was speaking to before. And and that's okay. You allow that. Your boundaries are going to protect you from interactions with the wrong people or from relationships with the wrong people. If you're in a relationship and something happens and you have to change your plans on short notice, if you say that to someone that you're currently dating or you're seeing in a dating capacity, right? If you say, I'm sorry, something came up and I can't do that. If they start to try to manipulate you, or they freak out, or they whatever, assert your boundary that this is what you're doing, and take note of that, because people that are well adjusted don't have a problem with plans changing for a valid reason. They don't have a problem with that. They are okay with that, and they allow those plans to change. People who don't respect your time aren't going to respect you. And at some point, you're going to find you have no time except for the time that they have control over. So pay attention to those little things. Set your boundaries. Be firm with those boundaries, because if you're not setting those boundaries, then you are allowing people to do whatever they want. Yeah, then you just deplete yourself. And people who are taking, they will take and take and take and take. Yep, same. Right? I just keep I just kept losing more and more people. And I put in tougher and tougher boundaries that I'm not giving things away for free. I'm not. I have so many different ways that you can work with me, and I do things for free all the time. So if you want the free stuff, join the lives or join the Temple of Light, which is a free group. If you want anything more, well, here's anywhere from $11.11 all the way up to over $1,000, like whatever level of that you can. Plus, I implemented sacred reciprocity, which means that now through my site, that if you don't have the money to be able to afford something that you really, really want to work in, or really want to use, or want to partake in, if you can't take it because of the money, sorry, there's a fly that's fly that decided to land right there, little bugger. If you're, then we can look at other arrangements. So another arrangement would, I joke about this, and I'll talk about it, a couple of different things. So my Bridge to Light Phase 2, I did the opening session yesterday, which if you're still interested in taking that course, jump on it, because it's only the opening ceremony that we've done. We haven't done any of the class sessions yet. But next Wednesday, the classes will begin to being recorded. And, as much as I would be okay with somebody coming into the group, say, in week 2, I wouldn't want you to wait too long coming into the group, because then you're just playing catch up and missing that class. Like for a live class is different. I would just suggest that you wait until it's the recording at that point, or if you want to take a live class with me, to wait until I run it live again. But the Bridge to Light Phase 2 is about embodiment. And for those that pay for the course full up front, you get Bridge to Light Phase 1 for absolute free, which is $888 for free. So those things, but that sacred reciprocity is there. The sacred reciprocity is there because I recognize that the only way that we build the new earth is if we create the structures that need to be there. So one of the things that we talk about is how in the new earth, we shouldn't be paying for necessities of life. We would have a bartering system. We'd live in communities. We'd be teaching the truth. Like we'd be teaching how to communicate with nature. We'd be teaching how to, be in your sovereignty. We'd be teaching, the truth about ourselves, about our divinity, about our lives, about our history. We'd be teaching all the truth. So I've created those structures. I have the Anshara'El Pathway of Ascension. We teach the truth. My One Truth Will Set You Free podcast, that's all about the truth of who we are and how, and who we are and why we're here and stuff like that. So if you're looking for that type of stuff, the sacred reciprocity is the second system. So I built the bartering system within my company. So if you can't afford for the full cost of whatever program that I am, let's have a conversation about it. What can you afford and how will we energetically exchange otherwise? So maybe it's something like you're willing to do, testimonials, and you're willing to share, content that I give you to share. Maybe you've got a car and I need a car. Maybe you're good at YouTube videos and, you can help me repurpose my videos on YouTube. There's a ton of different ways that we can do an energetic exchange. So that's what I opened up on the site, right? Lots of people are out there creating communities so that people can live in communities like we're supposed to, right? If I had a bunch of friends, it'd be beautiful to get a bunch of friends together and buy up land and build a community on that land, right? And everybody can live and work together to have a community, things like that. But so if people don't receive your truth, well, that's okay. You're just going to speak with integrity and release expectation. Sometimes truth will catalyze discomfort. That's not failure. It's frequency doing its work. Remain clear, kind, and unattached, and just speak your truth. Right? I speak the truth. I do it with clarity. I try to remember to always do it with kindness. So this is a good one to give me a reminder to make sure that when I am speaking the truth, that I'm doing so and I'm keeping in mind the audience and speaking it with some truth. So how can I strengthen my throat chakra? Number 1, stop misusing it. And hi, Elizabeth. Stop misusing it. Speak the truth. Sing, chant, tone, rest it when needed. Let it become a gate of light, not a tunnel of noise. And I like that one. So also practice silence, journal your truth, speak blessings out loud, drink crystal infused water, and use blue tones like lapis lazuli or aquamarine. Nice blue color today for throat conversations. And focus on sapphire light. So the color of the throat chakra, right? Eating foods like blueberries. They're another a good fruit to eat for the throat chakra. Focusing on that sapphire color, seeing, there's other things that you can do with the throat chakra. I actually have a course that a mini course, and it's one that you just purchase, and it has like it has so much stuff with it, like, oh my God, so much stuff, but it's a chakra system. So it's just for aligning your chakras. Hi, John. What if I'm afraid to speak? Right? That's a question that a lot of people will ask. What if I'm afraid to speak? Well, one, begin with the song. Right? Sound is safer for the soul. Just tone, let whatever comes up come up, just let it come out, and slowly work up to being able to actually articulate or speak the words, right? Let your body remember the resonance before forming the words. Fear is often memory based, right? Your soul may remember lifetimes where your truth was silenced or punished, right? Where you were in a timeline of persecution. So your soul may remember that. So inherently you're like, I can't speak. You may have been punished in this lifetime for speaking, right? How many of us got in trouble for saying the truth? I remember my mom was so much that she used to always say to us, no matter whatever you did, just tell me the truth. Because if you lie, you're going to get in twice as much trouble, because then you're going to get in trouble for what you did wrong and for lying to me. So one year, and this was like late in the school year, a bunch of us decided to skip school. And we were just all of us were out hanging out, a bunch of us. My brother was there as well. So my mom and stepdad ended up being in town that time and caught us. So they made us get in the car and have this big talk with us. And my mom was like, just tell us the truth. And my brother lied and said that he was just on his way back to school, that he had a spare or something like that. But I was truthful and I said that we were skipping. I got in trouble. And I said to my mom, that's it. That's it. That is it. You told me if I told the truth, that I wouldn't get in as much trouble. I told the truth and he lied and I got in trouble because you chose to believe that he was telling you the truth and I was lying, and I wasn't. Why would I lie and say that we were skipping school? It doesn't make any sense. So, from that, you get that little bit of, well, even when I do tell the truth, I still get in trouble. Right? High star beings. So fear is often memory-based. It can be tied to other lifetimes, or it can be tied to this very lifetime where you have been punished for speaking your truth. So you just need to speak gently, one tone at a time. Let the song guide you back to your voice. So sing in your sing by yourself. When you're starting to speak the truth, if it's hard for you to actually speak it, start with writing it down. And as you start to speak the truth, pick people or truths that you can share that are smaller, or people that you have more trust built up with, where you know that they accept you a little more when you're speaking the truth, to build up that strength in speaking your truth again. Okay. All right. So we've got a practice, and remember, this practice will also be in the free journal that's available in the Temple of Light, because I create a companion journal for all of my lives, right? So the companion journal includes the embodiment or invocation. This is a larger invocation, but it's still an embodiment practice. And then it also includes some journal prompts and a mantra and another smaller invocation. So we're going to do this one together. So we're going to sit with our hand on our throat for our throat chakra, okay? And we're going to breathe in nice and deep, and then we're going to tone this syllable. And it's ah, na, right? So breathe in. Ah, na. Okay? Ah, na. Can you feel it in your throat? I'm going to do one more time. Ah, na. And now you're going to speak aloud. May my voice be forged in clarity, wielded in love, and anchored in divine purpose. Now visualize your throat surrounded in sapphire light, forming a crystalline sword. So I'll give you a moment to visualize that. And now we're going to say, I speak not to wound, but to awaken. My voice is a temple. My truth is a song of remembrance. A quick little practice that you can do, right? So the on off, or the for your throat chakra. Seeing the sapphire crystalline sword get created in your throat chakra, and then saying a couple of decrees. It's pretty easy one. It's not too complicated. Alrighty, so in the journal, that companion journal that's a part of the Hello Silesia, there's the invocation, which is Blade of Clarity, Song of Soul. I vow to speak only what builds, only what blesses, only what burns falsehood to ash. And then you've got your journal prompts, which included the 2 questions from earlier, which were, is this truth seated in fear or love? And does it make me feel more aligned or more defensive? Those 2 questions are included. But you also get, how have I used my voice in ways that distorted the truth or caused harm? What does it mean for my voice to be sacred? And what does my soul most long to speak? And then your mantra is, my voice is sovereign, my words are sacred, my truth builds the new world. And it does. Your voice is a holy instrument. Reclaim it, refine it, resurrect it. Join our pathway of remembrance, activation, and sacred embodiment at Anshara'El.com. Because we do all kinds of beautiful things like this. We do invocations, and like the last, when you're in the groups, some of the groups that I have, we do lives every month. So in the Guardian Pathway and in the KRYSTIC Mastery Circle, as well as in the Oracle Chamber and the Still Waters Temple, there are lives that happen in those groups per month. But I'm going to talk more specifically about in the KRYSTIC Mastery Circle and as well the Guardian Pathway, because they're a tiered group and they include the Ascension Gateway. So the Ascension Gateway is 1111. That gives you access to early recordings of the Truth Set You Free, the Hidden Earth podcast, as well as any special episodes within that. It gives you early access to the emissary stuff, but it also gives you access to public teachings that are basically held behind a paywall. So it's 1111 for that group per month. When you go into the next tier, the Guardian Pathway, you keep the Ascension Gateway and all of the perks that you get from that, but you get extra teachings, deeper teachings, and you also get a live with me once a month where we do something. This month it was the hidden cost of frequency. So we learned all about how, all these different frequencies that are around us, the EM, the 5G, the microwaves, the radio waves, all of it, how they are affecting us and making us tired or making us feel very confused and stuff like that. So that course was free for those that were part of the Guardian Pathway or the KRYSTIC Mastery Circle, because they're tiered groups. So the KRYSTIC Mastery Circle gets the Guardian Pathway and the Ascension Gateway. And then we do another live within the KRYSTIC Mastery Circle as well. So for anyone that wants to join them additionally, you can join just by paying to join the event. And now that recording and all the stuff that went along with it is available on the website as a standalone purchase. So you can get the recording, the audio, the decree, and the 2 sigils, plus the guide that went along with it. So that's all available now on my website as a download. So instead of attending the class, you can just get it as a recording. So all of these things are available. There's soul alignment sessions. There's Oracle voice notes. There's soul letters. Like if you've ever wondered what your oversoul is trying to say to you, or your guide team, a message from your guide team, these are beautiful, beautiful notes or letters that you can receive. The Guardian activation is very powerful. I give you a guide that gives you all kinds of information about who you are and why you're here, and just activates you at a Guardian level. So all of these beautiful things are available on my website, including books, like I said, the classes, the groups, and all the education. So do please check that out. So how are you feeling? Hi, Michelle. I'm gonna have a sip of tea. Because, yeah, it's getting cold. I feel like I need to go hit the kettle, heat it up a bit, put some more hot water in it just to finish it. Yeah, my the one book Oh my God, this book here, it's so cute. I just love it. And there's other books as well. I have 15 books that are published now, give or take. And the reason why I say give or take is because there's one book that I have published that's just on my website. It's not available for purchase on Amazon yet. At someday I might put it on Amazon and maybe soon. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, it's available on my website. But I've been trying to put all my books on my website. Not all of them are, but a bunch of them are. So yeah, and this is the Golden Sunbeam, and this is for little kids, just to keep them tuned in. The Golden Sunbeam, the light inside you. Introduction, awakening the young soul. We can sit it like this so you can see the back of the book and see how it opens up for when you're reading to kids. You are brilliant, radiant, and full of light. Do you remember where you came from? Before you were here, you danced among the stars, whispering to the universe, dreaming of all the wonderful things you could do. You chose to come here to bring magic, joy, and light to the world. And now it is time to remember. As you turn the pages, something special will happen. Little sparks of light will awaken within you, a feeling in your heart, a knowing in your soul. Can you feel it? Take a deep breath and step into your magic. Chapter 1, the light inside of you. Inside of you, there is a golden spark. Can you feel it? Place your hands on your heart and take a deep breath. That little spark is who you truly are, a being of light, wisdom, and love. Some call it your inner sun. Some call it your soul light, and others call it your magic heart. Whatever you choose to call it, it is always shining inside you. Activity. Close your eyes and imagine your golden light growing bigger and brighter. What color does it become? How does it make you feel? So there's a practice that on every chapter, right? Every chapter within the book has an activity at the end of the chapter. I've published 4 books in this series now. You can find them on Amazon as well as on my website. Someday I'm going to have like some companion stuff and a whole space on my site just dedicated to this series of books. But I'm just a one-person, so I'm doing so many things already. Just finding the time to schedule that in, but someday. So what is everybody doing for their Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday? Because those are the 4 days in between this live and the next live, unless there's a surprise live. Nice. Very nice. There's a little hair that's tickling my face. I'm Melinda Sue. Yeah. Yeah, it is definitely busy out there, right? Especially you. You decided to have a whole bunch of kiddos. Woo, fun. You know what? Someday I will probably go on a date too. I'm going to enjoy that. I'll tell you, I will enjoy going on a date eventually. I like the single life, but, you know. Yeah, it's not even the end of summer yet. All right, who wants a card? It's been a while, but who wants a card? The 21st, that's not cool. That fly, just leave me alone. All right, Spirit, can I get a message for Sha'Ryah? The King of Pentacles. That's some good energy. That's some good energy, Sha'Ryah. The King of Pentacles, he's calm, cool, collected. Why? Because he's sitting looking out over his kingdom. Financially, everything's good. He's confident. On the other side of the deck, though, on the bottom of the deck, you have the High Priestess and the Shadow Seer. What I see between these two is this is a very practical, a very practical, grounded individual, but I feel like you're not paying attention to the spiritual. This is more grounded in like practical stuff, but your spiritual stuff has kind of been put to the side a bit. So like meditating or listening to your dreams or journaling or, you know, doing that kind of stuff. Yep. Just, I'm like, did you think anything else is going to happen? It's so funny. Because I was talking with Shauna Lee, and I was saying to her that in one of my lifetimes, I was a very well-known oracle in one of my past lives, right? I'm like, some would say I'm a prophet. And I'm like, would you like to just pretend that I'm them? And I'll tell you exactly what they're going to say, because I could tap into their energy. It was so weird. I just knew exactly what their energy was saying. And yeah, sometimes you can just draw it in so easily. And I was like, yeah, no, man, I'll tell you exactly what he's thinking. Exactly what's coming up. Spiritual love. Can I get a card for spiritual love? Can we get a card, please? What does spiritual love need to hear today? Okay, because this stuff kind of fell out like in a mess like that. So the Nine of Pentacles. This is usually the card that represents the energy of peace, and, you know, like you're harvesting the fruits of your labor, but you're not quite there. There's like a delay in this space, a delay of like that. So then the other two cards are 2 10s. So 10-10 for you, the 10 of Pentacles and the 10 of Swords. So the 10 of Swords is about walking away from something that's no longer serving you. The 10 of Pentacles is about one big happy family. Right? So there's something that you have to let go of that will bring the peace that you're looking for and create this, right? There's something that's taking you off your finances or your peace, because that's what the 9 of Pentacles, or it could even be your confidence, right? Like your belief in yourself. And just to show you, the bottom of the deck was another 10. Okay, so the 10 is the wheel, and the wheel in the upside down is karma, destiny. Karma, destiny. So karma, let it go so you can have the destiny. 10, 10, 10. Yes. Maybe tomorrow I'll do a surprise live. Maybe tomorrow I'll do a surprise live, and that's all. I'll just do cards for the day or something. I don't know. I've been trying not to do that too much, because I don't want people thinking that that's all that they're coming to me for, is to get a free card or whatever. That's why I've stayed away from it for so long. Okay, I got to think about Carol before I start doing that. Carol, what does Carol need to hear today? Did you see them, Carol? Huh. They're both upside down. And the Sun is the giant yes card, and the Emperor is the divine masculine, but that's kind of like a no. Ooh. The Devil's on the bottom. So what addiction or what I'm just trying to see what, because there's chatter. Hang on. There's something that's definitely Huh. I'm just like, I'm humming and hawing because like my brain's sitting there going, like when it's looking at the Devil card, what exactly it is with the Devil's card. Yeah, there's something that you need to liberate from. There's something that you need I was like, how do I say it in a good way, right? Because of the Emperor, right? And it's materialism, right? That can be, there's that link to materialism. And it can also be like some of the things that steal our energy. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And that's delaying the abundance that's meant for you, right? That's delaying the abundance that's meant for you because of that little addiction, almost like, yeah. Yeah. I was like trying to think, I was trying to think the best way. Like, I'm like, I'm ready to hear it. And I'm like, publicly, publicly with all our friends. So yeah, you have to think about the best way to be nice about it. Yeah. So yeah, there's some things that are taking you off your point. And I think that, you know, pretty transparent. What is it fulfilling? What is it fulfilling, that purchase? Right? Where can you source your dopamine from in a better way? So there's that shadow work, but not delving too much, yeah. So put yourself on a little spending diet, right? With the little things, like when you've thought out something and you know that that's something that you need to purchase, and you're like, yep, I've sat with this. I checked in. It's not a rash or a, you know, like or a quick purchase. It's something that I've actually sat with. And yes, it's something that I do in fact need. And I am going to use it. You know, I don't have another one in my house. And, you know, like say your crock pot broke, like not to put that energy out there, but if that's something that you use all the time, then you would want to go buy another one, right? That would make sense to go and purchase something that you use all the time. It's kind of handy for me because I live in the, like, and I don't do online shopping. Like I don't even, trying to think of what the last thing was that I bought for fun. I don't know. I don't know. I can't remember. It's been a while. Yeah. Yeah. So it is. It's just thinking about what do I need? And if I want it, why do I want it? And is it something, am I fulfilling the dopamine thing? And can I get that from somewhere else? Yes. Yeah. Yeah. We can justify a lot. I mean, justify a lot, but is it really, really necessary? And just looking at it from that aspect, it's not about not purchasing anything. It's just being a wise purchaser. And maybe if you look at it like, is this something that's going to just be junk in the landfill? Is this something that's just going to clutter up my house further? Or, like, is it worth what it's going to create in the energy to bring that to me, right? If you're purchasing it online and having it shipped, is it worth the energy that it's going to take to get that to me? Is it worth it if it gets here and I end up not liking it? And yeah, that's a good one. Just, is this a wise purchase? Yeah, that's a good one. Is this wise? Is this, am I filling something am I filling a void right now? Or is it something that I really do need and am going to use? It's not just going to sit and collect dust. Yeah. You're welcome. I love you. All right. Anybody else for a card? It's like, is it going to call me out on my spending habits? Maybe not. Is it going to call me out that I'm not doing as much spiritual practices? Well, I don't know if I want to get called out. All right. Chickadee. What does Chickadee need to hear? Thank you. Thank you for the gifts, love. All right. So the Six of Swords is typically that there's a transition, that you're in the middle of, it's a journey, right? You're on a journey. There's help coming that may come and may not look the way that it's supposed to look. But in here, in the shadow part of the Six of Swords, so it's not necessarily coming. I just have to refer to the book for a minute. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I was on point with it. So this can represent, like I said, when it's in this direction, it's about a transition or a journey. And it's also about help coming, and that maybe the help doesn't look like may not look like you're expecting, but that help is coming. When it's in this position, it can mean that you are not willing to help, to accept help, or not willing to ask for help. Like there's could be an issue around help. It can also be about like, that you're supposed to be like transitioning, you're supposed to be, on this journey, but you're delaying your journey in some way, shape, or form. And it can also be that you're just carrying the baggage of the past, not putting it down. The Two of Pentacles also came out, and the Two of Pentacles is about balance, as well as like all twos have to do with balance and decisions, right? About making a decision. But in this sense here with the Two of Pentacles, it's about balancing the aspects of you, right? So it could be balancing the spiritual part and the physical part, or it could be balancing, the wife portion to the individual portion, to the mom, to the grandmother, to all those different roles, right? So balancing out those roles. There's something that may be out of balance that they're trying to find that equilibrium or that evenness between it. Like kind of seeking that harmony. So that's the energy of that. There's some journey or some transition, some growth that you're meant to go through, and you're delaying that for yourself. And it's asking you to bring this balance or this harmony in. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So there's resistance to change there. There's change that needs to happen, but there's resistance to that change. Right. And it's when we realize that, right. And then again, many of us are definitely afraid of the change, right? Because we don't know what's on the other side of it. And it's hard for us, even when we look at our life before and we're like, oh, I've been in worse situations and, I didn't want to move through those spaces, but I did. And look how great it is now that I moved through those situations, right? I overcame those things. But even having those experiences, we still come to that moment where there's change again. And we're like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. Or we lie to ourselves and tell ourselves that we don't have to, or it's not that bad, or I don't have to, and we stay in the, I talk about this, like you don't stop what's coming for you. Like, let's say that you've sat down before you came into this life and you said, this is the life I'm going to have. These are the experiences that I'm going to have. This is the mission that I set out for myself. I plan on, doing these particular things. I'm going to have this trauma, but I'm going to overcome the trauma. I'm going to become a healer. I'm going to teach other people how to overcome their trauma. And like, let's say that's the path that you decided. But then you get down here and you start experiencing the trauma, and it's really hard for you to move beyond that space, because maybe in moving through trauma means leaving some people behind, right? I had to do that in exiting my relationship. So in doing that, I could have said, I don't want to do that. And I probably did. There's probably, I knew pretty much between this first and second year, that was something that I probably should have left. Right. And, it's fine that I didn't. There was experiences that I got because of it. You're always exactly where you're meant to be. You're always exactly where, like, it's always divinely timed. And, you can be like, well, that, how does that make sense that I can delay things, but it's always divinely timed? Because if you haven't experienced the lesson that you're meant to experience in order to transmute it and move on, then you're going to keep re-experiencing that specific issue. Right. So that's the concept of we're circling and not spiraling up. We're just circling and stewing and going in circles, right? And keep seeing the same things happening again and again and again. And that's because there's something that you're meant to learn and overcome that you've chosen not to, or you're not seeing at this point. So you'll stay in that spot so long as you're not willing to look at it, right? Until you're ready to move. Exactly. Until you are ready to move. You'll stay in that spot. Mm-hmm. But once you decide, well, then things change. That's when things change. All right. Did anyone else want a card? Or are we all good? Yeah, everybody has a breaking point. It's the straw that broke the camel's back, and that's what we're all looking for, right? We're all there until we hit that point. For me, when my health went, that was it for me, right? I had powered through so much my whole life, but once I got that, whether it was an error in diagnosis or not, it doesn't matter. But once they said to me, you have multiple sclerosis, that was a whew. And then when I struggled for that year with my symptoms getting worse and worse and worse and worse, that moment that I decided to say, enough is enough. I need to take time out for my health. I need to do my healing. And I took that and went and did it. That changed everything, because I hit my breaking point in that journey. As I was healing the way that traditional medicine said I should heal, I was doing everything that they said, going to all the doctors and all this stuff. That's when I was just like, I can't do this anymore. Something has to change. And so it was my breaking point. Yep. And that's, and you hope that you can wake up before, something bad happens. It's just most of us choose not to. We choose, like, we wait for that straw and it's always that moment. There's one moment that's going to come along and you're going to be like, enough is enough. I am tired of the same old thing. I'm tired. I'm so tired. I'm tired of waiting. I'm tired. And then you do something different, right? But you have to do something different. You don't wish it away. By wishing it away, you're still putting your attention on it, on the negative, right? If you're saying, I wish I didn't feel this way, you're still focused on feeling this way. So it's not going to go away by wishing you didn't feel that way, right? You have to be working on feeling the way that you want to feel. So don't wish that you don't feel this way. Start knowing and believing that you can feel the way that you're supposed to feel, or that you can be the way that you're supposed to be. Yeah. Hey, Troy. Yeah. Hi, HJ. So yeah, it's about following the path, like going in the direction, or, in embodying how you want to be. So if you're, for me, right? For me, my thing has been trying to get my reach out there, right? I share such beautiful things. I know the value that I bring to the table. I know what I'm doing for people, right? And then I see lives where I've got like 4 or 5 or 6 people attending the lives. I see on YouTube that nobody's there, and you're just like, what? Like, why is nobody showing up to hear these things? And that's because most people are content with surfing on social media and going to this one and listening about how this crappy stuff is happening over here, or they're listening to this one where it's like, hee hee ha ha, watch me dance and watch me do silly things. And it's all about numbing out, avoiding distraction, or creating more chaos or fear, or just reseeding more of what they are seeing in their lives or want to see in their lives. Most people aren't serious about it. As sad as that is, out of 8 billion people that are actually serious about their awakening, there's not as many as you'd think. So you guys sticking around to hear education, to learn something, to do an invocation, to do an embodiment practice, you guys are leading the pack. You're literally leading the awakening. And, if you think about where you are in your life and that makes you laugh to think that you're leading the awakening, well, that should give you a clear idea about what the rest of the world is doing. They're content to still be just blind about it. Just blind about it. Right? We talk about it. If you're looking outside and you're seeing a checkerboard in your sky, right? And you're over 15 years old, we'll give 15 just to be a nice big ballpark of age. But if you're 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, you saw skies that did not have lines in them. I was raised in a time where we had big puffy clouds. The skies looked more like the intro to the Simpsons. We didn't have lines going in our sky. We had planes, red planes back then. We didn't have lines in our sky. The people that don't want to look up and look at those lines and say, why are they spraying that stuff on us? Don't do so because they don't want to. Right? Yep. But it's up to you. Like, that's the thing. Like, it's a choice that you have to make. Nobody can drag you there. Right. And it's nobody's responsibility to pull you up by your bootstraps over and over and over again. Right. You're the one that has to determine, I don't want to live this way, or I don't want, or I want to feel better, or I want to whatever it is. I want to experience life the way that I'm supposed to experience, or, I don't want to carry the baggage of my past anymore. You're the one that has to make that decision and then do the actual work to not experience those things. It's all on you. Nobody can force you. Nobody can, we can't force awaken anybody. At some point, some information could come out that would be just absolutely shocking to somebody that could, wake them up a bit more. But for the most part, that's not the way that it works, right? Yeah, years was, I don't want to be so angry anymore. For me, it was, I was just so tired of the chaos. I was tired of crying. I was tired of feeling like crap. I was tired of being sick. And I'm not doing this anymore. Right? I don't want to experience this anymore. So yeah, we're going to have to work on some things because I need you guys to help me, right? I really need you guys to help me. If you guys love me and you support me, you guys need to help me. Okay. because, and Carol, you do a fantastic job at this. I'm going to tell you that right now, because you like my stuff, you comment on it with actual sentences, you share it out, you interact, you know, like you're doing what's necessary. But yeah. We're not gonna take it. No, we are gonna take it. We're not gonna take it anymore. Right? And I was going to give you guys, like, cuz it's 3K is what it's saying for me. I don't know if it's saying the same for you guys, but I've been on for almost an hour and a half. Hey, Leora. Not Leorel, but Leora. So I'm going to self-like. I'm going to give myself some likes. Not that it matters. I think I'm just about ready to head off for today anyway. There. I gave myself some likes. I don't know if they counted. I don't know if they counted. But anyway, I love you guys. I'm not sure what I'm going to be teaching on Tuesday or what the live's going to be about on Tuesday. And I'm not 100% sure. I might do a live tomorrow and just, you know, have whatever, do something else for a live tomorrow. Hi, Queen Mama. I do have an idea for a live concept. But I would be doing it on my other channel on One Truth Sets You Free. I was thinking about doing that as a live. Where is my thing? Yeah, it was to go on top of this class here. It was to talk about, it was again the sword and the song, but a deeper one. So I might revisit that on my other channel. So yeah, I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. But go check out my offerings. Go check out my books. You guys that are here right now have checked out my stuff lots. So I'm pretty sure you know where all my stuff is and everything that I have to offer. But go check it out. I love you guys. And I'm going to head off. And I will see you guys maybe sometime between now and Tuesday as a surprise. But otherwise, I will see you back here at 3:30 Eastern on TikTok and YouTube. Mwah. Love you guys. Have a beautiful afternoon. Bye, guys.